Hey guys, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Today I want to bring you a guide on how to play one of the more old school heroes, one of the, I would say, quite well known heroes, but probably a lot of people underestimate how powerful she is. It's Lily. Now, Lily is a dedicated support role. She is a true support. She's not a semi-support under any circumstance. She's very, very good. She's remarkably easy to play, as her playstyle revolves around not having to target too much. And she is relatively dynamic in how she can provide what she provides. So, the first thing is, let's go over Lily's abilities. Now, Lily is remarkably slippery due to her trait. That means that when she takes damage, she gains 10% movement speed for 1 second. Basically, this doesn't stack, but it means that it's incredibly difficult to track her down if you're chasing her, because every time you land an auto or any ability on her, she'll just run away even faster. So, she's remarkably slippy, however. If you combine this with some of her abilities, she becomes even more slippy, but she's not invincible. You will get stunned and killed, and you're still susceptible to CC. And all that good stuff. So don't overextend, but you can kind of sit a little bit further forward in a team fight and take a couple of pokes to reposition, particularly in the late game. And then her Q and E both don't have to be targeted. They just, if an ally or an enemy, depending on which ability you use, is in range, they will be affected by it. Q launches a heal towards someone, and you can tell who's going to get that heal by it if they have a green leaf above their head. So if I take damage here, you'll see now I have this green leaf above my head. If I press Q, it goes on me. This will go on, it will prioritize heroes above minions, and I'm 99% sure it's based off of your percentage health. So if Diablo's at 5% health, but has like 500 health, he's going to get a priority heal over Murky, who's at 100% health, but only at 490, if that makes sense. So that's how it works. It's very good. You should use it a lot. It will drain your mana. It has a 3-second cooldown and it's relatively cheap. And it does heal for quite a high amount. Obviously, not being able to target it is quite a massive hindrance. But most of the time, it will go on the person who you would put a targeted heal on anyway. W is a Cloud Serpent. You throw it, this is a targeted ability, you throw it on an allied hero, you can't throw it on minions, and it automatically attacks nearby enemies for a little bit of damage. This is the ability that one of the builds revolves around. And E, which does the same thing as Q, but for enemies. If there's an enemy in range, you press E, and it will throw a blinding wind towards them, dealing a small amount of damage, and meaning that they miss all basic attacks. As a result, it's incredibly good against people like Illidan, Valor, Reyna, who there's people, even the Butcher, who rely on their basic attacks to get most of their damage out. So how do you use Lily? Well, you have to be concerned about her mana. If she runs out of mana, she can't do anything. Obviously, with this cheap and with her mana regen at a reasonably decent level, you can get somewhere, but not amazingly well. So I would say that your probably best bet is to use Q when someone's taking damage, when you know you can regen it, or just keep spamming it like mad. Use your W on the person who's going to be in people's faces, and then use E if you need to finish someone off, or you want to blind people to mitigate some damage coming in. That's pretty much how you do it. So with Lily, there's almost always in every tier, there's going to be 2 talent choices you can choose between, and one of them will be just straight up healing numbers, and the other one will be kind of healing numbers, less healing numbers, but in exchange for that, you'll gain a little bit of damage, and that damage is going to revolve around your W ability. So basically, you can either take an ability which buffs your Q, or an ability which buffs your E. Sometimes through proxy, you can gain an ability which buffs your Q by buffing your E, all kinds of good stuff. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over all the talents, and I'm going to go through each talent tier and tell you which one you can pick to benefit which side, and of course you can chop and change them however you want. But I would recommend that if you have a lot of damage on your team, if you have 2 or 3 assassins, lean extremely more towards the Healy side. Consider going all Healy abilities, and if you don't have any of those, if you have 2 or 3 supports, lean towards the more damagey side and stuff like that. So anyway, let's get into it. At level 1, you can only really take Conjurer's Pursuit because the mana is incredibly useful, and if you're going full Healy, you want to use mana, so this is going to be your Healy. If you're leaning towards that side, take this one. Or you can take Timeless Creature if you're leaning towards damage. Obviously, taking Conjurer's Pursuit means you can start affecting your late game prowess straight away because you can have the mana regen, and if you take Timeless Cloud Serpent or Timeless Creature, it means that your Cloud Serpent is going to be better, it's going to last for longer, but that doesn't really come to much effect until you start buffing it up a whole hell of a lot more. So this one will be Healing, Conjurer's Pursuit, and Damagey will be Timeless Creature. For the sake of the fact that I'm soloing, I'm going to lean towards a Damagey build, but I'm going to try and show you guys how you can chop and change between the two. So at level 4, there's a couple of good ones you can take here. A lot of people here will just go for Mending Serpent, as it does give heals, and if you take the original one, it's gonna heal for 50% more because it has a 50% longer duration. So you can go for Mending Serpent. This is a really good one. I say if you're not sure which one to go for, go with Mending Serpent. However, you can go for Mass Vortex. Now this is kind of a lot of people are going to say, like, why would you do that? Why would you go for this? But when you buff it up later, you can almost add a later If you buff it up later, you can actually add quite a lot of utility onto your E, so it becomes quite strong. And just doubling the number of people it hits just means it's a lot more efficient to use. So, but I'm going to go for the Mending Serpent here, just because again, I'm playing it as if I'm in a more damagey situation. At level 7, this is where things get fun. This is where you can really choose between the two. You can take Shake It Off if you're getting focused, but you really shouldn't. You shouldn't be in a situation where you are. Your tank should be the one taking CC, not you. Pitch Perfect is kind of good, but if you've gone for the Healy build, which you should have, if you're going for that way, if you've taken Conjurer's Pursuit, you're probably not going to want to go for this, as you could never run out of mana, and then you're missing out on potential. So if you're going for the Healy build, I would say if you've taken Conjurer's Pursuit and if you've taken another one on the last tier, don't be afraid to go for the good stuff. The heal really isn't that much, and it is a very long time, but any point of healing helps, and it is going to be much better than the Cloud Serpent's attack bounce if you're going for pure Healy. So Healy build is good stuff, damagey build is Lightning Serpent. I'm going to go for Lightning Serpent, but just please remember that this one is here. It can really start to get out of control with your healing, but you can also get good healing. If you take all these, your Cloud Serpent will heal for a little bit, but not as much as your Q would anyway. So that's that. At level 10, the go-to talent is going to be Jug of 1,000 Cups. Burst Healing, which this is just so incredibly strong. So it basically works as when you press it, you will continuously cast your Q for free. Well, it won't be free, you spend 100 mana at the start. But over the next 6 seconds, you will continuously cast your Q, and it will target the heroes around you that are in need most of healing. It is an amazing ability. If you can get it off the full duration, please do. But please bear in mind that this will be interrupted by any stun effects. I find a lot of Thralls and a lot of Johannas interrupting me out of this whenever I start using it. They jump on me and hit me with their stun. So please be aware of that. Try and use it afterwards, and make sure if you're casting it, you're sitting behind. Don't be afraid to cast it before a fight to quickly get everyone to max when you know that they're not going to be at max. Water Dragon just isn't quite there. It kind of does damage, I guess, maybe if you really want it to, but you can't target it, and it hits the nearest enemy hero, which quite a lot of the time is going to be the tank, and slows all enemies near them, which if they're really good, they just won't take any of it. Deals a moderate amount of damage and slows them by 70% for 4 seconds. Good, but with the amount of CC and stuns that there are available to a lot of people in the game, it's just not good enough, and Jug of 1,000 Cups is so incredibly strong. Even if you're going damagey build, whatever build you're going for, I would strongly recommend Jug of 1,000 Cups. At level 13, a lot of abilities you can take here. Don't take Elusive Foot, but you can, I suppose, just because it means you gain block, which is block is incredibly nice. Again, if you're getting poked down, consider taking this, but I would say it's probably just a tier under the other abilities. Hindering Winds is good. If you've taken Mass Vortex at level 4, you can see why it now becomes an ability in of itself. It becomes really, really useful, because you can either slow down a lot of people. This is good if you both of these two talents, the Hindering Winds and Surging Winds, are both good even if you haven't taken Mass Vortex, but these are the two abilities you're going to use. So this means that you can peel for yourself and peel for allies, and Surging Winds is really good because it means you gain additional ability power, which if you have the Mass Vortex and you hit 4 people, that means your heals are going to be 20% more effective for 8 seconds. That's a lot more heals. It also means that your ulti is going to be a lot better as well with the snapshot mechanic, which is carried over from Diablo, I think. Basically, the way it works, if you have 20% ability power and you pop your ulti, it's going to heal for 20% more, even after the ability power which you cast at the start of it has worn off. So it's really, really useful. If you've gone Mass Vortex and you go Surging Winds, this is actually the Healy build. If you're going for pure healing numbers, Surging Winds is the one you want to go for. A little bit of utility you can get with the slow, and if you're really struggling with one person who's diving and wrecking your team, don't be afraid to go Shrink Ray. I'm going to go for Surging Winds because I really like Surging Winds. At level 16 here, this one's fairly easy. The two you want to go for, if they have crazy amounts of CC, you can go for Herbal Cleanse, but I really wouldn't recommend it. The movement speed is probably really what you're gonna go for on this. The polymorphs and all that is really nice, but the movement speed is going to be incredibly strong. But that being said, it's probably not worth it. The 2-for-1's really good. It means that you double the double the number of healing at only a little bit. Let me start again. You heal twice the amount of people, but only every 1.5 as often. So you can cast every 4.5 seconds as opposed to 3, but you'll heal double the people. As a result, it's probably just a good investment, and because it hasn't got mana, it's actually really effective at keeping your mana high. So 2-for-1 is going to be the go-to one. If you are leaning towards, that's for the Healy one. If you are leaning towards a more damagey one, go for Serpent Sidekick. And at level 20, Kung Fu Hustle, incredibly good. Abilities charge 100%, 150% faster while Fast Feet is active. Means you're going to be getting your abilities up all like just a ridiculous amount of the time. This isn't very good because although it hits twice, it doesn't actually mean your healing is that good. Storm Shield and Bolt the Storm, both solid picks, but Kung Fu Hustle is just incredibly strong. It means you could, people just yeah, it's incredibly good. So, as per normal with supports, particularly with supports like who are dedicated Healy supports, she's going to have a very difficult time laning on her own. Please be aware that her auto attack is ranged and has quite a considerable range on it. If you look here, it's not bad at all. When you're in lane, don't be afraid to cast E just to poke someone down. It can do a surprising amount of damage when you get near the higher levels. If you're with someone in lane, always cast the W on them because you want them to be at the front lines, not you. And basically don't spam Q unless you know you're going to get the full value off on the Q, and don't really spam it if they're above like 60% health. In the mid game and in team fights, make sure you cast your W and all of your abilities are off cooldown before you use Jug of 1,000 Cups. When you use Jug of 1,000 Cups, try and stay at the back, try and keep everyone in range of it at all times, and rinse and repeat until the late game. Don't be afraid to use your E to try and help someone survive. Don't be afraid to pop out of the fight just to quickly throw down the Q to help someone survive. Other than that, just play cautious. Way too many Lilies for some reason think that because they have fast feet and because they have a non-targeted ability, they can get way too far in the front lines. This is not true. You need to stay at the back. She's a very, very newbie-friendly support. If you want to learn the ropes of how to support, don't be afraid to pick her up. She's great fun. She's incredibly strong right now. Get Jug of 1,000 Cups off in team fights and you will win games. Thank you very much for watching. I have been Mr. G, and I'll see you next time.